Hello and welcome to News at 10 on Rajya Sabha television. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor and here are the latest headlines. US fully backs India's demand that Pakistan must act against terrorists acting from its soil, says it stands in strong partnership with India on the issue. John Kerry to meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi today. BSF withdrawn from Valley within a week of deployment. Home Minister reviews security situation as Army Jawan is killed in cross-border firing at LOC. Government hikes minimum wages by 42%, announces 2 years bonus. But trade unions stick to 2nd of September date for nationwide strike, say hike is completely inadequate. Islamic State says one of its longest-serving leaders, Abu Muhammad al-Adnani, has been killed in a strike in Syria. Adnani said to have masterminded several attacks in Europe. And England create cricketing history, make highest score in ODIs. Score 444 runs for loss of 3 wickets against Pakistan at Trent Bridge. Well, Home Minister Rajnath Singh reviewed the security situation in Jammu and Kashmir on Tuesday. Now, top officials of the ministry and chiefs of intelligence agencies briefed him on the situation and steps that have been taken to maintain law and order in the state. The meeting also discussed the report of the committee set up to find an alternative for pellet guns. Meanwhile, an all-party delegation led by Home Minister Rajnath Singh will visit Jammu and Kashmir on 4th of September, and it is expected to interact with a cross-section of people as part of efforts to bring peace in the valley. Now, Congress leader Ghulam Nabi Azad, CPIM General Secretary Sitaram Yechuri, JDU leader Sharad Yadav, CPI leader D. Raja, Samajwadi Party leader Ram Gopal Yadav and BSP leader Satish Chandra Mishra are likely to be part of this delegation. Meanwhile, the Congress has pushed for a dialogue with separatists to end the ongoing unrest. It has asked both the centre and the state governments to identify the relevant non-mainstream parties and stakeholders in the valley for the talks. And on the ground in the valley, with curfew lifted from all but 2 police station areas of Kashmir, BSF troops were withdrawn suddenly and replaced by the CRPF. Well, this comes barely a week after their deployment. Meanwhile, an army Jawan was killed in firing from across the line of control in Rajouri district on Monday. The army has not yet confirmed if the firing was by militants or by the Pakistani army.
मुझे उम्मीद है जैसे मुल्क की पूरी पार्टीज कांग्रेस हो सीपीआई हो जम्मू कश्मीर में भी सारी जमातें इस वक्त कोशिश कर रही हैं कि हम अपने बच्चों की जान बचा सकें, स्कूल खुलें, दुकानें खुलें और एक बाइज्जत तरीके से जम्मू कश्मीर का जो मसला है जो भी है वो बड़े बैठ के हल करें।
चूंकि ऑल पार्टी डेलीगेशन है जिसमें सबसे ज़्यादा तो अपोजिशन के लोग हों, मैं उम्मीद करूंगा कि हमारे कश्मीर के जो साथी हैं वो ज़रूर आएंगे अपनी बात सुनाने के लिए, क्योंकि यही अपोजिशन के लोगों ने पार्लियामेंट में सबसे ज़्यादा हिस्सा लिया है। मैं तो जम्मू कश्मीर का हूँ तो मुझे तो उठाना ही था, लिहाजा मैं अपने आपको क्रेडिट लेने की कोशिश नहीं करूँगा, लेकिन जिन लोगों ने हमारा साथ दिया उस मसले को उठाने के लिए मेरे ख्याल में हमारे साथियों के जो कश्मीर के लोग हैं, अलग अलग शोबे से ताल्लुक़ रखते हैं, उनको अपनी बात सुनानी चाहिए ताकि जब भी पार्लियामेंट में दोबारा बहस हो तो वो उनको मालूम होना चाहिए। वरना अगर कोई मिलेगा ही नहीं तो ये जो हम 2 महीने से डिमांड कर रहे हैं अपोजिशन सरकार से, तो बाद में सरकार कहेगी देखो आप डिमांड कर रहे थे तो कोई तो मिलने ही नहीं आया।
And US Secretary of State John Kerry will meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the national capital today to discuss business ties and security concerns relating to Pakistan. Well, Kerry and External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj met for the second round of the Indo-US dialogue on Tuesday and reviewed the progress on the decisions that have been taken in the past and also identified new areas of cooperation at the meet. At the plenary session of the second Indo-US Strategic and Commercial Dialogue, co-chaired by US Secretary of State John Kerry and External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj on Tuesday, Swaraj briefed Kerry extensively on the continuing problem of cross-border terrorism that India and the larger region face from Pakistan. Kerry condemned terrorism in all its forms and fully backed India on its demand that Pakistan should act against terrorists operating from its country.
We reiterated our unwavering commitment to the protection of our citizens and to defeating the terrorist mantra of bigotry and of hate. Now let me be clear. The United States continues to support all efforts to bring the perpetrators of the Mumbai and the Pathankot attacks to justice. And we cannot and we will not make distinctions between good and bad terrorists. Terror is terror, no matter where or who carries it.
हमने एक बार फिर दोहराया कि पाकिस्तान के लिए ये आवश्यक है कि वो अपने यहाँ आतंकवादियों और आपराधिक नेटवर्कों जैसे कि लश्कर-ए-तैयबा, जैश-ए-मोहम्मद और डी कंपनी के लिए शरणस्थली को खत्म करे.
Both leaders also agreed on a joint cyber framework and to intensify intelligence sharing in combating terror and violent extremism.
Our countries have deepened our cooperation on defense, counterterrorism, and cybersecurity. Our armies and our navies hold joint exercises that keep expanding in size and scope, and that now includes thousands of troops every single year. And we look forward to finalizing a cyber framework that will help us all to be able to recognize and to protect against new and evolving threats to global security.
Sushma Swaraj said that India is looking forward to work closely with the United States to secure membership at the Nuclear Suppliers Group and the United Nations Security Council. Swaraj also expressed concern over the recent fee hike for H-1B and L-1 visas that has affected thousands of Indians and totalization agreement.
Citizens are studying, living and earning their livelihood in each other's countries like never before. More than 1 million of our citizens are traveling in both directions every year, many of whom we hope will benefit from early implementation of the US Global Entry Program for Indian nationals. The issue of totalization and recent fee hike for H-1B and L-1 visa has affected our people-to-people exchanges, which is a vital source of strength for our relationship.
When industry expresses concern that they're being targeted, it's absolutely imperative that we look into that issue. I don't believe that that's true because the United States recognizes the enormous contribution of foreign workers to our economy, including our workers from India. And increasing U.S. and Indian business ties has been one of our highest priorities.
India and the US also discussed ways to enhance atomic power cooperation and agreed to move forward on building 6 nuclear reactors. Kerry also said that US intends to develop vaccines for dengue and tuberculosis soon to prevent unnecessary loss of lives. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. Meanwhile, Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar has said that countering terrorism is an important objective shared by both India and the United States. Parrikar is on a 3-day visit to the US. Earlier, the two sides signed the bilateral logistics exchange memorandum of agreement. The deal will give the militaries of both the nations access to each other's facilities for supplies and repairs.
Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar on Tuesday launched a veiled attack on Pakistan for the ongoing unrest in Kashmir. He said that a small percentage of the population was holding the majority to ransom in the valley. Parrikar was addressing a joint news conference with US Defence Secretary Ashton Carter at the Pentagon. He also maintained that the government is working proactively in handling the violence in the state. The Defence Minister also appreciated America's support to eliminate extremism in the neighborhood. On Monday, the first day of the Parrikar's visit, India and the US signed the bilateral logistic exchange memorandum of agreement. This agreement now makes India and the US logistical allies and enables the militaries on either sides to use each other's assets and bases for repair and replenishment of supplies.
It doesn't have anything to do with the setting up of base. It's basically logistic support to each other's fleet, like supply of fuel, supply of many other things which are required for joint operations, humanitarian assistance, and many other relief operations. So it's basically will ensure that the both navies can be supportive of each other in the joint operations we do, exercises we do.
China has downplayed the crucial defense pact and hoped the deal would be constructive for maintaining regional stability.
我们希望呢，印度和美国之间的这个相关的合作呢，是能够为地区的和平与稳定和发展呢发挥建设性作用的，发挥积极作用的。所以呢，对于英美之间的这种正常的关系，我们乐见其成。
During his US visit, Parrikar will also visit Boeing's manufacturing facility at Philadelphia and interact with American defense industry representatives at an event organized by the US-India Business Council. This is Parrikar's second visit to the US in 8 months. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
On to some other news. Well, despite the government announcing 42% hike in minimum wages and a 2-year bonus, labour unions have decided to go ahead with their nationwide strike on 2nd of September. Now, the trade bodies have rejected the government's measure, saying that it was completely inadequate. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley, who heads an informal group of ministers constituted to address the labour issues, said that the minimum wages for unskilled non-agricultural workers will be hiked to 350 rupees per day from the current 246 rupees. Also, the government employees will be paid a wage bonus as per revised norms for 2014-15 and 2015-16. The trade unions, who are demanding minimum monthly wage of 692 rupees a day and a base pension of 3,000 rupees a month, were not impressed by the government's move and said that they would go ahead with the day-long general strike on Wednesday. The strike call is being supported by almost all major labour unions and may impact banking and insurance services, power supplies and coal mining.
मिनिमम वेज एडवाइजरी बोर्ड है लेबर मिनिस्टर की अध्यक्षता में और उसकी मीटिंग हुई और सरकार ने उसकी सिफारिशों को माना है और इसको रुपीस 350 पर डे 350 रुपए पर दिन के हिसाब से तय किया गया है।
8 लेबर डिमांड में से मैं जब 7 डिमांड मेजर डिमांड्स जब सरकार ने जो है पूरा करके तो जो लेबर के हित में जो निर्णय लिया तो फिर स्ट्राइक के बारे में वो लोगों का निर्णय है कि स्ट्राइक करे या ना करे।
Meanwhile, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley has said that with inflation likely to moderate following a good monsoon, it is logical to hope for a rate cut by the RBI. He, however, said that the actual decision will have to be taken by the central bank. Well, Jaitley said that India can achieve a 9 to 10% growth rate with a supportive global economic environment. Last week, Commerce and Industry Minister Nirmala Sitharaman had pitched for a 2% rate cut by the RBI to boost growth and employment generation. On whether the interest rate in the next monetary policy review due on 4th of October will be decided by the Monetary Policy Committee, Jaitley said that it will depend on whether the government is able to finalize the nominees on the committee. Under the proposed framework, interest rate will be now set up by a 6-member MPC to be headed by the RBI governor. And the Goa Assembly has convened a day-long special session today to ratify the GST bill. The main opposition, Congress, has already said that it will be supporting the Parisar-led government on the floor of the House to ratify the bill. On Tuesday, Mizoram, Telangana and Sikkim also ratified the bill. 11 states now, that is Assam, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Delhi, Gujarat, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra and Nagaland have already ratified the bill. The government has set 1st of April next year as the target for rolling out of the GST, which is considered as the biggest tax reform. On to some other news. Well, floods have claimed 6 more lives in the state of Bihar, taking the death toll so far this monsoon to 165. The deaths in the state have been reported from Bhojpur district. Water has begun, however, receding in the Ganga, but over 37 lakh people in 12 districts are affected by the floods. As many as 644 relief camps are being run in the flood-hit areas, in which nearly 4 lakh people have taken shelter. A total of 185 camps are being operated for cattle, while the number of animal deaths has reached 59 due to floods. Meanwhile, in the northeastern state of Assam, 4 fishermen were killed and 3 others critically injured in lightning strike in Morigaon district. The injured were immediately taken to the hospital. In News at 10, we'll take a very short break. Stay with us for more news and updates. Welcome back. Now news on Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari's Kerala tour. While inaugurating the second stage of the digital library program of the P.N. Parikar Foundation in Thiruvananthapuram on Tuesday, Vice President Ansari said that increased knowledge of information technology among poor will help them overcome social exclusion. Ansari also commented on the work of the foundation in building literacy movement in Kerala. Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari inaugurated the second phase of the digital library program in Kerala in a function attended by Kerala Governor P. Sathasevam, Chief Minister P. Vijayan and Rajya Sabha Deputy Chairman P.J. Kurian. Addressing a gathering at the P.N. Parikar Foundation, he said that literacy helps poor and marginalized in overcoming social exclusion and empowers them to fight for their rights.
The internet is a powerful tool to improve livelihoods and to provide new economic and social opportunities, particularly for young people in poor communities as they connect with the rest of the world.
Reiterating that e-literacy is a crucial skill to possess, Vice President expressed concern over the lack of reach of information and communications technology to marginalized sections of society. He also said that poor and marginalized face challenges in using ICT as a tool for economic and social development.
At the same time, evidence shows that poor and marginalized communities face tremendous challenges in overcoming the digital divide and in using information communication technology or ICT as a tool for economic and social development and for improving their living conditions.
The Vice President said that the spread of the mobile revolution and migration of services has intensified the need to have minimum understanding of ICT, as most of the government-related welfare programs are executed through internet.
With improved skills, more individuals can access ICT-based skill development and vocational training programs. Acquired e-literacy skills will be very useful in data entry and result interpretation of the ubiquitous diagnostic equipment found in all trade occupations.
Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan, Rajya Sabha Deputy Chairperson P.J. Kurian and Kerala Governor P. Sathasevam also addressed the gathering and spoke of P.N. Panikar's contributions in making Kerala a 100% literate state. Vice President Ansari will also inaugurate the Vidhadhanam scheme of the St. Teresa College in Ernakulam today, following which he will return to Delhi. This is Raj Kamal Rao report for Rajya Sabha TV. And today, the Raman Magsaysay Awards 2016 will be presented at a formal ceremony in Manila. Now, 2 Indians are among the winners of the award. Human rights activist Benzvada Wilson and Carnatic musician Thodur Madabusi Krishna. Now, Wilson is the national convener of the Safai Karamchari Andolan and a renowned campaigner against manual scavenging, while Krishna was chosen for bringing social inclusiveness in culture. Krishna is being felicitated for showing how music can be a deeply transformative force in personal lives and society at large. Well, the newspaper The Australian has said that it will not be publishing more confidential data on the Indian Scorpene-class submarines. Now, this came after the Supreme Court of New South Wales imposed a temporary ban on the further publication of the documents. While the newspaper's associate editor, Cameron Stewart, said that there are very large documents, but we are certainly not publishing more documents. He also added that no items would be posted even after the court injunction ends, unquote. Earlier, the French company DCNS, that is building Scorpene-class submarines in Mumbai, had filed an injunction in the Supreme Court of the New South Wales. As a result, the court had placed a temporary ban on the newspaper from releasing any more confidential data on the submarines. The court order also said that the newspaper will also have to remove documents from its website and give a French firm DCNS all the company material in its possession. The order, however, will expire on a Thursday, where the dispute will be heard in the Australian Supreme Court. Over 22,000 pages of top-secret data on the capabilities of 6 highly advanced submarines being built for the Indian Navy in Mumbai in collaboration with the French company DCNS have been leaked. Well, on to some international news. Well, the Islamic State has announced that one of its longest-serving and most prominent leaders, Abu Muhammad al-Adnani, has been killed in Aleppo province in Syria. Though the group did not mention how he was killed, the Pentagon said that it had targeted Adnani in a precision strike near the town of Al-Bab and was still assessing the results. Adnani had been one of the last living senior members, along with the self-appointed Caliph Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, who founded the Islamic State group. Now, Adnani is said to have masterminded several attacks in Europe and elsewhere and was known for his calls for lone wolf attacks. He had a U.S. bounty of $5 million on his head. Adnani's reported death comes at a time when Islamic State is suffering military reverses in both Syria and Iraq. In Syria, fighting has escalated, with the rebels breaking a siege by government forces, and Syrian and Russian warplanes are carrying out airstrikes on the rebel-held areas. News from Yemen. Well, the United Nations has significantly revised the estimated death toll from Yemen's civil war up to 10,000 people. Well, this figure is a huge increase on the previous estimate of more than 6,000. The UN says that the new figure was based on official information from medical facilities in Yemen. It also said that a number could rise further, as some of the areas had no medical facilities and people were often buried without any official record being made. Previous estimates cited by the officials and aid groups for much of 2016 said that the conflict had killed some 6,500 people. Now, long-running negotiations have failed to end the conflict between the government forces backed by an Arab coalition and Houthi rebels who are supported by Iran. The conflict has also displaced 3 million Yemenis and forced 2 lakh people to seek refuge abroad.
We know that in this situation here, over 10,000 people have been killed or injured during this conflict. The numbers vary, but that's the minimum number we would say. And at the same time, we know there's 3 million people have been displaced from their homes, both internally inside Yemen, and some have actually, almost 200,000 have gone outside to seek refuge.
Let's get you some more international stories in World Wrap. US President Barack Obama will kickstart his 8-day valedictory tour through Asia as he leaves today to attend back-to-back summits in China and Laos. Now, during the trip, Obama faces thorny talks about the fight against Islamic State group, climate change and human rights. Coming at the end of Obama's term, the trip is aimed at highlighting his administration's 7-year effort to expand US's influence in Asia. Jamaat-e-Islami, which had actively opposed Bangladesh's independence in 1971, has called for a dawn-to-dusk shutdown across the country today. This came after the country's Supreme Court turned down its leader Mir Qasim Ali's petition to review his death sentence for war crimes. The International Crimes Tribunal had handed down capital punishment to Mir Qasim on the 2nd of November 2014 for committing wartime atrocities. Spain's caretaker Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy has urged lawmakers to back him for a second term. Ahead of a confidence vote today, which he appears set to lose, Rajoy argued that the country urgently needs a government. Spain has been without a functioning government since inconclusive elections in December and June failed to hand a convincing mandate to any political parties. Now, to win the confidence vote, Rajoy's People's Party needs to win by an absolute majority, that is 6 seats. Peace talks aimed at ending more than half a century of conflict between Myanmar's army and an array of armed ethnic rebel groups are due to start in the capital, Naypyidaw, today. The talks are the first formal peace negotiations since Myanmar leader Aung San Suu Kyi's National League for Democracy party swept elections last November. The Suu Kyi is expected to address the 5-day conference along with the heads of nations' military, United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, and representatives of at least 17 of the 20 main armed groups. On to some cricketing action now. England has set a new world record for the highest ever total in a one-day international. Now, this record was achieved in a dramatic fashion against Pakistan at Trent Bridge. Alex Hale scored 171 runs and that provided the platform for England to post 444 runs for the loss of just 3 wickets. Now, this score surpassed the previous record of 443 for 9 by Sri Lanka against the Netherlands in 2006. Now, England sealed the record when wicketkeeper Jos Buttler, who himself set a record for the fastest 50 by an Englishman in an ODI, struck a 4 off the final ball of the innings. Pakistan did not even come close in reply. They were wrapped up at 275 in the 43rd over and they lost by 169 runs. Some tennis action news from the US Open. Well, Williams sisters Venus and Serena Williams won their first round matches on Tuesday. Top seed Serena Williams advanced to the second round, dominating her opening round match against Russian Ekaterina Makarova, winning in straight sets. Venus Williams also defeated Katerina Kozlova of Ukraine in 3 sets. Meanwhile, a 2011 US Open champion, Australia's Samantha Stosur, also advanced to the second round with a solid 3-set win over Italy's Camilla Giorgi. Meanwhile, in the men's first round matches, third seed Stan Wawrinka of Switzerland beat Spain's Fernando Verdasco. While Britain's Andy Murray beat Lucas Rosol of the Czech Republic in the first round of the US Open. Murray, continuing with his good form this year, has now reached the final of all the 3 Grand Slam tournaments this year and has also won the Rio Olympics gold medal. Well, that's it from me and my team in this edition of news. Thanks so much for watching.